Hello again. I'm here with another video related to the subject of mechanics of materials. And here I want to show you how you can determine stresses on an inclined plane for a bar, let's say, of whatever cross-sectional area. In this case, you could see the area is rectangular. So you have this bar, prismatic bar, under the action of an axial load P. Tension or compression doesn't make any difference. And the objective here is to determine actually what would be the stresses developed on this inclined plane. Inclined plane is formed at an angle theta. So the angle theta here, let me just erase this for you. So redraw this. So this is the angle theta. And if you look at the free body diagram of this P, what will happen actually on this plane is that there would be a resisting shear load and a normal force. Now, typically you would have shear and a normal force and a bending moment, but of course there is no bending moment in this case because forces are lined up. Now, our objective is to determine the stresses that are developed on this plane right here, on this inclined plane, formed at an angle theta. So I could draw you another picture here of diagram in terms of the stresses. So due to the stress which is caused by this load right on this plane, what would be the average shear stress, which I'm going to actually call it tau sub theta because it relates to the angle theta, and I'm going to call this normal stress sigma sub theta. So our objective is to find, we want to determine sigma theta and tau sub theta in terms of load P and this cross-sectional area right here. So this is cross-sectional area A. Okay, so first we have to break this load P into two components, V and N. And once we find V and N, actually sigma theta would be the normal force divided by the area. But keep in mind that this area here, guys, is going to be different than the area that I showed you here. This area is going to be larger. I'm going to show you another picture and show you how you can find that area. I'm going to call that area A sub theta. And then similarly, tau sub theta would be V divided by A sub theta. Okay, so first let's go ahead and break the load into two components. All right, here we go. This is the load P. I want to break it along this line, which you have the angle theta here, and perpendicular to it, which is the normal force. So here we go. The two components are the component which is the shear here, and this is the N. Of course, these are the resistance to this load over here. But anyways, so you could see easily that in this right triangle here, that V would be, let's go back to black, V would be P cosine theta, and N would be P sine theta, right? And what about this area that we were talking about, this area right here? So look, maybe a better picture would be if we say, okay, if this is our cross-sectional area at an angle theta, we would have something like this. So this is actually A sub theta, and let me change this color to red here. Let's say the red is the area A, which is the same area here, and this is A sub theta. And then if this angle is theta, it is clear that A would be, or A sub theta would be A divided by sine theta, or A is equal to A theta sine theta. So here we go. We are ready actually to go ahead and find the normal stress and shear stress. Let me go to the next page. So here we go. The normal stress sigma sub theta would be N divided by A sub theta. Now remember, N is equal to P sine theta, and A sub theta is A divided by sine theta. So this actually becomes P over A sine square theta. Here we go. So this is the average normal stress on that plane, which is formed with an angle theta. And then similarly, tau sub theta would be V divided by A sub theta. V is P cosine theta. And A sub theta is A divided by sine theta. Therefore, this becomes P over A sine theta cosine theta. For which we can use this trig identity. That's, you guys know that sine 2 theta is 2 sine theta cosine theta. So basically 1/2 sine 2 theta then is sine theta cosine theta, which means now we can replace the sine theta cosine theta by this guy. So actually tau sub theta could be written as P divided by 2A. The 2 goes right there. And then this becomes sine 2 theta. It really doesn't matter which form do you use. It's the same thing. Now, just to give you some example here, let's say if the load is, the applied load is 120 pounds, and the cross-sectional area of this guy, say, happens to be 6 inches squared. So in other words, it's like say a 2 by 3. So if this area, cross-sectional area is 3 by 2 or 2 by 3, right, like that. So the area becomes 6 inches squared. What would be the normal stress developed and shear stress developed at, let's say, an angle of 30 degrees, right? So remember, it's just a simple plug-in. So if we go ahead and plug in here, sigma sub theta becomes P, which is 120 pound per 6 inches squared times sine squared 30. That actually comes out to be only 5 psi. So not much stress developed there. And similarly, tau sub theta would be 120 divided by 2A, 2 times 6, sine of 60 degree because it's 2 theta. And that becomes actually 8.66 psi. So that's sigma theta and tau sub theta. Now, let me go to the next page, and I want to show you something else. But before we go to the next page, keep in mind that tau sub theta is what? P over 2A sine squared 2 theta, right? My question is, at what theta tau becomes maximum, reaches a maximum value? Well, it turns out that sine of an angle cannot be more than 1, and the maximum is 1 for sine an angle. So in that case, that's sine 90. So that means 2 theta must be equal to 90, or theta must be equal to 45 degrees. So maximum shear stress happens at 45 degree angle. So what's the idea behind that? I mean, why is this useful, that maximum shear stress happens at 45 degrees? Let me go to the next page and I'll show you something interesting. So basically what we are doing here, we're doing a simple tensile test. So that was the case. So we are putting a bar under the action of a load or compression. So different materials, they behave differently in terms of failure. So if you have a ductile material means a soft material, such as a steel actually. Believe it or not, the steel is very soft, or aluminum. The mode of failure is actually shear stress, is tau. So shear stress reaches a value, and as a result, the failure will happen. Now, because we said shear stress is maximum at 45, guess what? This material will fail at 45 degree angle, because shear stress reaches a maximum value at 45 degrees. And if, for example, if you have a shaft under tension, this picture that you see here actually is what we call cone and cup situation. So what you'll see, this is the 45 degree angle here. Let me use a different color. So this is the 45 degree angle, and you see that. So this is the cone, and this is the cup. And if it was a kind of like rectangular cross section that I showed you earlier, you'll see that there would be a necking happening here when you put something in tension, right? Put a bar in tension, but guess what? There would be still a 45-degree angle situation here. So you'll see a 45-degree angle that will happen right here. So I hope you like this video, and keep watching more videos. I'll make more videos pretty soon. Thank you for watching and listening.